3 years ago, a guy from New Zealand showed up to a street race in Chicago. Nobody knew his name. He'd never sat in a stock car. And he won. On his first try. The NASCAR garage lost its mind. They said, "Okay, cool, street course, fluky win, he'll disappear on ovals." That was 3 years ago. He didn't disappear. He got faster. And now? Now the guys who said it are terrified. Here's why. If you don't know the Shane van Gisbergen story, stop what you're doing, because this is the craziest trajectory in modern NASCAR, and I promise you, what's happening right now in the 2026 standings is going to blow your mind. Shane van Gisbergen, SVG, is a 3-time Supercars champion from New Zealand. Supercars is basically Australia's version of NASCAR. Touring cars, close racing, contact, chati aggression. He dominated it. Won the Bathurst 1000, which is basically the Daytona 500 of the Southern Hemisphere. The guy was a legend before he ever stepped foot in America. Then, in 2023, NASCAR added the Chicago Street Course to the schedule. Trackhouse Racing gave SVG a shot. One race, street course, rain, chaos, and SVG, a complete unknown to American fans, threaded through the field and won. His first Cup Series start, a win. That doesn't happen. That literally doesn't happen in NASCAR. You're supposed to run mid-pack for 2 years, learn the car, pay your dues. SVG skipped all of it. But here's what the critics said. And this is important, because it sets up everything that's happening right now. They said, road courses aren't real NASCAR. Wait until he gets to Daytona. Wait until he gets to Bristol. Wait until he has to race door to door on an oval at 180 miles an hour. Then we'll see. Fair enough. So what happened? 2025. SVG's first full Cup Series season with Trackhouse Racing, and the results were complicated, because on one hand, he was absolutely dominant. 5 wins, as a rookie, 5, all on road courses. NASCAR.com's official season review described it as 5 wins on road courses and steady oval improvement. He also finished runner-up in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, that's the Xfinity level, running a part-time schedule while doing Cup full-time. But there's that phrase, steady oval improvement, not oval dominance, not one on ovals, improvement. And the garage noticed. 5 road course wins is incredible, but the 2025 Cup schedule had about 30 oval races. Winning 5 of 5 road courses and struggling on 30 ovals, that's a pattern. And it gave his critics ammunition. Here's the thing, though, and I need you to pay attention here, because this is the part everyone is missing. Steady improvement on ovals doesn't mean he was terrible. It means he went from being a fish out of water to someone who could run in the top 15, top 10 consistently. On tracks he'd never seen before. In a car he'd been driving for less than 2 years. Against guys who've been running these ovals since they were teenagers. That's not a weakness. That's a warning sign. For everyone else. And that brings us to right now. 2026. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Let me paint the picture. The 2026 Cup schedule has 32 oval races. 3 road courses, Cota, Watkins Glen, Sonoma. 1 street track, the new San Diego race at Naval Base Coronado. That's it. Chicago Street Course? The place where SVG announced himself to the world? Gone. Dropped from the schedule. So if SVG is going to survive in 2026, he can't rely on road courses anymore. There aren't enough of them. He has to race on ovals, and not just survive, compete. So what's happened so far? 6 races in, Shane van Gisbergen is 15th in the Cup Series standings with 140 points. Now, Before you say that doesn't sound impressive, let me put that in context. 15th. There are 40-plus cars in this series. 15th means he's ahead of Joey Logano, a three-time champion. He's ahead of Ross Chastain. He's ahead of Kyle Busch. 15th after 6 races, most of which have been ovals, with 0 road course wins padding the stats. That's all oval performance. And look at Atlanta, the Auto Trader 400 at Echo Park Speedway. This is a super speedway. 180 miles an hour. Pack racing, inches apart. The kind of track where experience is supposed to separate the men from the boys. And where was SVG? He was running near the front, running so close to the leaders that Kyle Larson, the 2-time champion, the defending champ, cut down into SVG's lane and wrecked himself. Larson took full responsibility after the race, saying he didn't realize SVG had gotten inside of him. But think about what that means. Larson was aware of SVG. Larson knew SVG was there, racing for position. At a superspeedway. That's not a road course specialist anymore. That's a contender. Now, Darlington this past weekend wasn't perfect. SVG spun to the grass coming into pit road. NASCAR's Inside the Race crew broke down the incident and called it fascinating to see how other drivers reacted and avoided him. He's still learning. The new 750 horsepower short track package is punishing everyone, not just SVG. But here's what matters. He's still 15th. He's still in the fight. The ovals haven't knocked him out. They were supposed to, and they haven't. Now here's the part that should make every driver in that garage nervous. And if you've been watching this whole video waiting for the punchline, this is it. Under the new 2026 chase format, the top 16 drivers in the regular season standings make the postseason. No win and you're in. Just points. And right now, Shane van Gisbergen is 15th, 1 spot inside the cutoff, 1 point ahead of Joey Logano in 16th. 1 single point. But here's what makes this scary. The 2026 schedule still has 3 road courses and a street track left. COTA is already done, but Watkins Glen, Sonoma, and San Diego are still coming. In 2025, SVG won 5 out of 5 road courses. If he wins even 2 of those remaining 3, that's 110 points from road courses alone. Remember, Chukta wins are now worth 55 points under the new system. That would launch him from the bubble into solidly inside the chase. And once he's in the chase, 10 more races. And some of those are going to be tracks where SVG can compete. This is what drivers are talking about in the garage. It's not that SVG is dominating ovals. He's not. It's that he doesn't need to. He just needs to survive ovals, top 15s, top 20s, and then cash in massive points on the road courses where nobody can touch him. That strategy didn't work under the old format because you needed wins to lock in your playoff spot. But under the chase, it's purely points-based. And a guy who can grab 55 points at Watkins Glen and 55 at Sonoma while finishing 15th everywhere else, that guy makes the chase. And suddenly, you've got a 3-time Supercars champion, a guy who has literally won at every level of motorsport he's ever entered, competing for a NASCAR Cup championship. In his second full-time year, Red Bull's analysis of the new format said it directly. For drivers like Zilisch and Van Gisbergen, the revised format places a premium on full-season performance, rewarding those who can combine speed with staying power. That's SVG's entire playbook. Stay alive on ovals, dominate road courses, accumulate points, make the chase, and then anything can happen. So here's what I want you to think about, and I mean really think about it. 3 years ago, this guy couldn't get a full-time cup ride. He was a novelty, a one-race wonder at a street course in the rain. Today, he's 15th in the standings, ahead of former champions, sitting inside the chase cutoff in a season built around the kind of consistency that rewards exactly what he does. The ovals were supposed to expose him. Instead, they're making him dangerous. Is Shane van Gisbergen going to win the 2026 Cup Championship? Probably not. Not yet. But is he going to make the chase? Man, look at the numbers. Look at what's still coming on the schedule. And ask yourself this. If he makes it, and he gets hot in those 10 chase races, what's the ceiling? Because nobody knows. And that's what makes this terrifying for the garage. Drop your prediction in the comments. I want to hear it. Like this video if SVG makes you nervous. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you tomorrow.